Welcome to Art History 2. Even though we've already spoken, this is the first day that we're actually going to talk about some art. And we are starting our Art History 2 with the Middle Ages. It really starts with the Renaissance, or what we call pre-Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. But just prior to the Renaissance, there is this period that has been called the Middle Ages. Some people have been very unkind to this period and have called it the Dark Ages, and the Dark Middle Ages, the medieval period, goes from the fall of Rome, somewhere in the middle of the 400s. If you take my Art History 1 course, you will find this out, with all details. But so the old Roman Empire that controlled the area of the Mediterranean succumbed. After a long time of controlling the roads, of controlling travel, of controlling currency, of having offices all over the place, it sort of fell apart. Too many people were coming, too many people needed the benefits, too many people were having children there and not paying their taxes, that kind of a situation, and the whole thing, and then the barbarians, because whoever is not part of your team is a barbarian. That's as in China, right? So people are showing up, people collapse the empire, and so we call that the Middle Ages because it goes from the 5th century of our era, this is of course after Christ, all the way until, let's say, the 14th century, the 13th century to the 1200s or so. So we're talking about 800 years, 900 years, and this is the time of the great flourishing religion. This is the time of Catholicism. The vacuum left by the Roman Empire is taken over by religion. So this is an era of faith, and everything is churches, faith, and smaller kingdoms. Nothing so organized as an empire. So this era culminates or ends with a movement that you're all familiar with. Your friends with the little nose rings, and they're all painted black, with the dark paint on the finger, the black pants, the chains, the goths, right? You've got friends that are goths, they like metal music. Well, this is the Gothic. It comes from this period called the Gothic period. And this Gothic period is remarkable. This starts around the 1100, the 1200s in the West, okay? And this is the era of the great cathedrals in Europe. These are these huge, massive cathedrals, very tall, because after all the disarray and the mess after the collapse of the Roman Empire, you have that building techniques are coming back up. People are remembering, rediscovering, inquiring, and sort of creating incredible structures. So we have the great cathedrals, and what's most important about this is that right now this Catholic religion starts spreading Gothic architecture all over Western Europe and other parts of Europe. So the Roman Empire was international. The Middle Ages is not. Everybody's in their own little corner, like now with COVID, right? Nobody can leave, we're all stuck in place. But now it starts opening up again. And you have Gothic cathedrals all over Western Europe. So that's the international Gothic. And it starts in a very specific place, the Church of Saint Denis in France, in Paris. And basically an advisor to the king saw the benefit of practical politics, of tying practical politics, king, you've got to rule, you've got to control your subjects, blah, 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 with spiritual politics. They're going to follow you more if you invoke Jesus Christ, the cross, religion. In a way, that's what the pharaohs did, okay? In a way, that's what was happening in the Near East. I mean, we're coming back to the ruler invoking religion as the authority all the time. And basically, Abbot Suger, when he's talking to the king, Louis VI of France, he envisions this architecture as, strict geometry and luminosity. That's why Gothic cathedrals are super tall, they're super thin, and they have a lot of windows to let in the light. Remember, there's no electric light. You can't flick a switch. And then you walk into this cathedral, and there's like colored stained glasses, and the light just comes through. It's transporting the normal human, the regular guy, you and I, into a world that's not accessible. So you feel like, oh my God, if this is religion, I want more of it. I want this beauty. I want this color. I want this light. So that's what the Gothic cathedrals did, you know. And you have the greatest cathedral, 1163. We have the beginning of Notre Dame. Notre Dame in Paris, you know, the one that recently almost burned down, which was a big hit for everybody. And basically, I want you to remember that cathedral, Notre Dame. So from Paris, this starts spreading all over Europe internationally, okay? So it becomes the international Gothic. And after that, just after that, you know, we have the beginning of the Renaissance, of the actual Renaissance. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit about the early Renaissance and how that came to be. But before, look at these pictures. I want to show you like a sculpture from Pisano. This is the 1300s, and look at Pisano. It's medieval, but it's already, she's getting more shape. She's getting more round, because people are starting to study the human body. Before the body has been covered for 800 years. Now people want to see the body a little bit again. They're not there yet, but you know, look at that. Gothic is pointy, very pointy, sharp edges. You know, it's got a little bit of that. You can see some of that here. And also, you know, towards the end of the Gothic, people are starting to wonder about classic era, about Greece and Rome, about the Roman Empire and all those naked bodies from those sculptures. And you see some of that interest appearing in sculptures that are happening in church. So here we see, you know, here we see a sculpture from the 1300, again by Pisano. Look at the evolution and look at it together with the final judgment, okay? With the final judgment from the 1100s. Look how sharp. Look at the devils. Look at the emphasis of religion on the earlier piece, right? So I just wanted to show you, you know, give you that sense of how we go from the Middle Ages to the end of the Middle Ages, the Gothic, and little by little, this network created by the International Gothic is going to then, in a moment of great splendor for the Western world and for Europe, blossom with the advent of the Renaissance, a newfound curiosity, a newfound self-awareness, a newfound enthusiasm for the human body and for the human spirit. To be continued with the Renaissance.